it's common for people. So number one, if you're defending yourself to a narcissist, I wouldn't do that. It's not going to go anywhere, right? And we don't want to necessarily defend ourselves. We want to set boundaries. So I want to speak from a boundaries perspective, right? Because when someone's defensive, it can lead to, let's not say narcissistic behavior, but toxic behavior. But oftentimes, even when people are setting boundaries, right, they feel like I'm the narcissist, right? They feel like it's being selfish. Quite often that is being manipulative, and it's because someone has manipulated you to believe that. The other thing that we have to understand is that when you're with a narcissist, and whether it's a romantic partner or whatever, you have to understand that the problem likely started long before you met them. It started out in childhood. And what happens is that you're not comfortable with speaking up for yourself. You're not comfortable with setting boundaries, right? There are some people that are not comfortable with speaking on stage. Why? They don't have enough experience. But once you get used to it, once you speak on stage, once you get used to it, once you engage, it becomes like second nature. You don't fear it anymore. Well, when you grow up in a home that you are not allowed to speak up for yourself, or every time that you do, bad things happen, right? And people have convinced you that every time you speak up for yourself, that you're being selfish, that you're being abusive, that you are, it quite often does feel like maybe there's a problem with me, right? What I would do in these type of situations is that I would study, research, right? And I know I keep coming back to my bookstore. There's a book in my bookstore called Boundaries After a Pathological Relationship. It is an absolutely amazing book, and it's a short book. And what you're going to learn, and when you dive deep into boundaries, and you have a much better understanding of what they are, and you have a much better understanding, and when you know, like I always compare boundaries when I'm talking to people. I always compare them to eating a salad, right? So we all know that eating a salad with healthy fruits and vegetables in it, we know that that's healthy. You can see how healthy that is. If someone came up to you and they said, "Oh my God, you're eating that's so bad for you," you would know that person is being manipulative, that person is the one that is trying to convince you to do something otherwise. Why would they do that? They're doing that because you eating a salad makes them feel uncomfortable, because they probably eat unhealthy. And I'm not shaming anyone, just using this as an example, right? So I love pizza and salad, so I'm not getting on anyone at the moment. But so you know within yourself that this is true, that what I'm eating is healthy, period, right? And there wouldn't be anyone to be able to convince you otherwise. If you were unsure if it were healthy, that's a different story. If it was your very first salad, if you didn't have experience with eating healthy things, if you weren't taught growing up the difference between eating healthy and not eating healthy, right? And someone came up to you, like, "Wow, you're eating a salad? Wow, that's so bad for your arteries." You would wonder, like, maybe it is. You would start questioning yourself, right? So what has to happen here is that you have to dive deeper into what healthy boundaries actually are, and have a much better understanding of what they look like, how to articulate them, what they sound like, what type of pushback, right? A lot of times people say like, how do you know, that the narcissist was going to say this and that? Because I dive deep into boundaries. I went through all this, right? And I know that every time I speak, it's not a guessing game anymore. Right. And this is how you also learn how to trust yourself more, because if you know this, right, if you dive deep in this and you have this and you have the knowledge, right, you have the background and you're able to articulate these things. Well, guess what? Everything else comes easy, right? Because you're one of the things that you learn from boundaries is that once you set a boundary, after that, all you're doing is collecting data, right? How that person responds. Right, what they do from that boundary will tell you whether or not that person is healthy, whether or not they should continue to sit at that table with you and eating that salad with you, or whether or not that person is not and you should have them removed.